Have you ever felt it? That unsettling sensation that something isn't quite right. Someone in your life, a colleague, a so-called friend, even a family member, treats you with politeness, but beneath the surface, there's a tension. An absence of warmth. A hesitation in their words. A fleeting moment where their true feelings slip through before they mask it again with a smile. Maybe you've brushed it off, telling yourself you're imagining things. After all, they haven't said anything outright cruel. They're not openly hostile. But deep down, something feels off. Let me tell you something, that feeling. It's not paranoia. It's intuition. It's your mind picking up on the subtle, unspoken cues that someone doesn't like you, but is hiding it. And why do they hide it? The reasons vary. Some want to maintain a social image. Others use false kindness as a tool to manipulate. And then, there are those whose dislike festers in silence, shaping their actions in ways you may not immediately recognize. I have seen it. Again and again. People trapped in toxic relationships, wasting years of their lives trying to please those who secretly undermine them. And the worst part? Many never realize it until it's too late. But not you. Today, you're going to learn how to see the truth. This isn't just about identifying those who secretly dislike you. It's about protecting yourself from their silent attacks. It's about freeing yourself from emotional exhaustion. And ultimately, it's about empowering yourself to rise above these invisible games and build a life surrounded by authenticity, strength, and peace. Because make no mistake, your energy, your time, your peace of mind are valuable. And no one who secretly resents you deserves them. So listen carefully. Every sign I reveal today is a key. A key to seeing people as they truly are, not as they pretend to be. If you've ever felt excluded but couldn't explain why, if you've sensed false smiles hiding quiet contempt, if you've been left wondering, was that a joke, or was it meant to hurt? This video is for you. And by the end, you won't just recognize these signs. You'll know exactly what to do. Now, tell me, have you ever suspected that someone in your life secretly dislikes you? Share your thoughts in the comments, because you're not alone in this. Let's begin. Have you ever spoken to someone who just won't look you in the eyes? They talk to you, they respond, but somehow, their gaze always drifts, down to the table, off to the side, anywhere but directly at you. It's subtle. Almost imperceptible. But deep down, you sense it. Something's not right. You watch them interact with others, laughing, maintaining strong eye contact, engaged and confident. Yet with you, there's a barrier. An invisible wall. And you wonder. Why? Let me tell you something. Eye contact is one of the most primal forms of human connection. From ancient times, leaders, warriors, and kings have understood the power of a steady gaze. To look someone in the eyes is to acknowledge them, to say, I see you. I respect you. But when someone avoids your gaze, it can mean many things. Sometimes, it's shyness, anxiety, cultural differences. But other times, it's something darker. A silent rejection. A refusal to truly engage with you on an equal level. Picture this, you're at work. You're speaking to a colleague, let's call him Alex. You make a joke, ask a question, or simply make conversation. And every time, Alex nods, responds, but his eyes dart away. He'll glance at the wall, check his phone, or scan the room, anything to avoid making real eye contact with you. And yet, when he talks to others, his demeanor is different. He holds their gaze, smiles warmly, engages fully. This isn't just coincidence. This is a choice. People who secretly dislike you may avoid eye contact as a way to unconsciously, or even deliberately, distance themselves. It's their way of creating emotional space while still maintaining the facade of politeness. Because to look someone in the eyes is to acknowledge them on a human level. And some people, they simply don't want to acknowledge you. So, what do? First, don't internalize it. Their discomfort is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their own mindset, biases, or hidden resentment. Second, observe patterns. One moment of avoidance may mean nothing. But consistent avoidance, paired with other subtle signs, can reveal the truth. And third, decide how much energy they deserve from you. If someone consistently refuses to engage with you on a basic level of respect, perhaps they are not worth your effort. Now, tell me, have you ever noticed someone avoiding eye contact with you? Did it feel deliberate? Share your experience in the comments. You're not alone in this. Let's move forward. Have you ever been the target of a joke that didn't quite feel like a joke? A comment wrapped in humor, but something about it stung. Picture this: you're in a meeting, discussing a project you've been working hard on. Suddenly, a colleague smirks and says, "Wow, I never thought I'd see the day you actually put in this much effort." Laughter erupts. Maybe even you force a smile. But deep down, something feels off. This wasn't just a joke. It was a disguised attack. A subtle way of undermining you, wrapped in just enough humor that if you were to call it out, they could easily dismiss it. Relax, it's just a joke. You're too sensitive. Don't take it so seriously. Sound familiar? Let's be clear, true humor is never meant to degrade, humiliate, or manipulate. When someone constantly makes jokes at your expense, focusing on your flaws rather than your strengths, it's not humor. It's psychological warfare. There's a term for this: passive-aggressive hostility. Some people, especially narcissists, manipulators, or those harboring resentment, use humor as a shield. They hide behind sarcasm, delivering insults disguised as jokes, knowing that if you react, they can turn the tables on you. But here's the truth: a joke that belittles isn't a joke. It's a weapon. So, what do? First, recognize the pattern. One joke may be meaningless, but if you find yourself repeatedly the target of these playful jabs, it's time to pay attention. Second, call it out, calmly and confidently. The next time someone makes a passive-aggressive remark, simply ask, "Are you joking, or is there something you're trying to say?" Watch how they respond. A true friend will clarify. A manipulator will get defensive. And third, understand that their words say more about them than they do about you. People who feel the need to tear others down are often revealing their own insecurities. The more confident and self-aware you become, the less their words will have power over you. Now, let's hear from you. Have you ever been on the receiving end of these kinds of jokes? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments, because knowing how to spot these tactics is the first step to stopping them. Let's continue. Have you ever scrolled through social media, only to stumble upon a picture, one that stops you in your tracks? A group of your friends, colleagues, or even family members, all gathered together. Smiling. Celebrating. Having a great time. And then it hits you. You weren't invited. No message. No call. No last-minute text. Nothing. At first, you tell yourself, maybe it was an accident. Maybe they just forgot. But as time passes, you start noticing a pattern. The group dinners. The weekend trips. The inside jokes that you were never part of. And that's when the realization sinks in: this wasn't a mistake. Exclusion is one of the most subtle yet cruelest ways that people show you they don't value your presence. Unlike an argument or direct confrontation, exclusion works in silence. It doesn't attack you head-on, it simply makes you invisible. And that's the danger. Because when you're left out, you start questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? Am I imagining things? But here's the truth: when someone truly values you, they make an effort to include you. Period. People with toxic personalities, whether they are manipulators, narcissists, or simply harbor quiet resentment, often use exclusion as a tool. Sometimes, it's done to assert control, creating an unspoken hierarchy where you're always on the outside. Other times, it's driven by jealousy, insecurity, or the simple fact that they don't see you as part of their circle. So, what do you do? First, recognize the reality. If you're consistently left out, not just once or twice, but repeatedly, then it's not an accident. It's a message. Second, resist the urge to chase after them. You don't need to beg for inclusion. You don't need to prove your worth. Instead, ask yourself, do I really want to be around people who make me feel unwanted? And third, redirect your energy. Instead of dwelling on the ones who exclude you, start investing in those who genuinely appreciate your presence. True friendships don't require you to beg for a seat at the table, they build a table with you in mind. Now, let me ask you, have you ever been excluded from a group, and later realized it wasn't an accident? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments. You're not alone in this. Let's continue. Have you ever heard these words? I'd love to, but I'm just so busy right now. Maybe another time, I've got a lot going on. Sorry, things are hectic. I'll let you know when I'm free. At first, you accept it. People have responsibilities. Life gets chaotic. But then, something happens. You scroll through your phone and see them, out at dinner, laughing with friends, enjoying a weekend getaway. They had time. Just, not for you. And that's when the realization sets in. They weren't too busy. They just didn't want to make time for you. This is one of the most subtle yet painful forms of social rejection. It's not an outright refusal, not a direct insult, it's a quiet exclusion. A slow fading away. A way of pushing you out of their life without confrontation. And the worst part? It makes you doubt yourself. You start wondering, am I imagining this? Am I being too sensitive? But let's be clear, when someone values you, they make time. When they don't, they make excuses. Now, let's take a closer look at why this happens. Some people avoid confrontation. Instead of saying, I don't want to be close to you, they give vague responses, hoping you'll get the message. Others do it as a power play, making you feel like you have to earn their time. And then there are those who simply don't care, but they want to keep you around as an option. So, what do you do? First, observe the pattern. One cancelled plan means nothing. But if this keeps happening, if they're always too busy for you but never for others, it's time to acknowledge the truth. Second, stop chasing people who don't reciprocate. Friendship, like any relationship, should be a two-way effort. If you are always the one reaching out, always the one making plans, it's time to take a step back. And third, redirect your energy toward people who genuinely appreciate your presence. You deserve to be with those who don't make you feel like a burden. Now, tell me, have you ever dealt with someone who always seemed too busy for you but had time for everyone else? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments. You're not alone. Let's continue. English version. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone asks you the same question, again and again? Wait, when's your birthday again? Oh, you work in marketing, right? Or was it finance? Wait, you don't drink coffee? I thought you did. At first, you brush it off. People forget things. But then, you realize, this person never remembers anything about you. Not your job, not your favorite food, not even the important moments you've shared. And yet, when they talk to others, it's different. They remember their colleague's promotion, their friend's favorite band, their partner's exact coffee order. And that's when it clicks. They don't forget everything. They just don't care enough to remember when it comes to you. Here's the truth, people remember what matters to them. When someone values you, whether as a friend, a colleague, or even in a casual acquaintance, they naturally retain details about you. Not because they have to, but because they want to. But when someone secretly doesn't like you, they won't put in that effort. They won't see the need to store information about your life. Because, in their mind, you're not important enough. And that's painful to accept. So why does this happen? Sometimes, it's a lack of emotional investment, you're not a priority to them. Other times, it's subtle dismissal, a way of signaling that you don't hold significance in their world. And in certain cases, it's a tactic used by manipulators. They don't bother remembering, but expect you to hang on to every word they say. So, what can you do? First, stop making excuses for them. If someone consistently forgets things about you while remembering details about others, it's not forgetfulness, it's a choice. Second, observe their interactions with others. If they selectively remember things only for certain people, then the issue isn't their memory, it's how they rank you in their life. And third, redirect your energy. True relationships, whether friendships, professional connections, or romantic bonds, are built on mutual appreciation and effort. So, let me ask you, have you ever noticed someone repeatedly forgetting important things about you? Did you confront them or let it slide? Share your thoughts in the comments, because recognizing this behavior is the first step to protecting yourself. Let's continue. Have you ever noticed it? That subtle hesitation. The way someone pulls back, just slightly, when you reach out for a handshake. The way they stand just a little farther from you than they do with others. The way their body tenses when you get too close. It's barely noticeable. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Picture this, you're at a social gathering. You watch as someone greets a friend with a warm hug. They clap a colleague on the shoulder, shake hands with enthusiasm, lean in when they talk. Then, it's your turn. Their demeanor shifts. Their handshake is brief, their posture stiff. They keep an extra step of distance. There's a wall, an invisible one, but you can feel it. And you ask yourself, why? The truth is, physical space is emotional space. Human beings use body language to signal connection. A touch on the arm, a firm handshake, even standing in close proximity, these are all signs of familiarity, comfort, and trust. So when someone actively avoids contact with you, but is comfortable touching others, it's not random. It's a message. Now, before you assume the worst, let's be objective. Some people naturally dislike physical touch. They may not hug anyone. They may not shake hands often. That's their personality, not a sign of dislike. But if you notice a pattern, if they are warm and open with others but stiff and distant with you, then you need to ask yourself, what is this person communicating? Sometimes, it's unconscious. A person may simply feel indifferent or uncomfortable around you and their body reflects it. Other times, it's deliberate, a subtle way to create distance without saying a word. So, what should you do? First, observe without overreacting. One moment of hesitation doesn't mean anything. But if this behavior is consistent, take it as a sign. Second, don't chase approval. If someone wants to keep their distance, respect it, but also recognize that you are not obligated to invest in relationships where you're not truly welcomed. And third, redirect your energy to those who embrace your presence. Real connections don't feel forced. They flow naturally. Now, let me ask you, have you ever noticed someone physically distancing themselves from you while being warm with others? How did it make you feel? Share your thoughts in the comments. You're not alone. Let's continue. Have you ever noticed how some people never have a kind word to say about you? No matter how much effort you put in, no matter how well you perform, no matter how thoughtful you try to be, there's always a critique waiting for you. Your ideas? Not quite good enough. Your decisions? Could have been smarter. Your progress? Still not as great as so-and-so. And yet, when it comes to others, they are generous with their praise. You start to notice a pattern. Every conversation with them feels like a subtle interrogation, an endless loop of what you did wrong and what you should have done better. This is not constructive criticism. This is a deliberate attempt to diminish you. People who constantly criticize you, but never acknowledge your strengths, are not trying to help you improve. They are trying to control the way you see yourself. Because here's the truth, a person who truly supports you will offer guidance, not just judgment. They will see your strengths, not just your flaws. They will correct with care, not with condescension. So why do some people do this? Some do it out of jealousy, subtly trying to knock you down to keep you from rising above them. Others do it out of insecurity, needing to point out your flaws to feel better about themselves. And some do it as a power play, making sure you never feel confident enough to outshine them. The question is, are you going to let them succeed? Here's what you need to do. First, recognize the imbalance. If someone never acknowledges your strengths but always finds a reason to criticize, understand that this is not about you, it's about them. Second, don't absorb their words as truth. A constant critic is not a fair judge. Surround yourself with people who offer balance, who correct when needed but also uplift you. And third, decide how much access this person should have to your life. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone deserves to speak into your self-worth. Now, let me ask you, have you ever dealt with someone who only seems to see your flaws but never your strengths? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments, because the more we recognize this behavior, the less power it has over us. Let's continue. Have you ever been in a conversation where the other person seems absent? You share a joke, but they don't even crack a smile. You express excitement about something important to you, but their reaction is flat. You look for warmth, for acknowledgement, for a spark of engagement, but all you get is indifference. And yet, when they talk to others, it's different. They laugh, they joke, their face lights up. You start wondering, why does their energy change when it's me? Here's the truth, emotion is a form of connection. When someone truly values you, their body, their voice, and their expressions will reflect it. A person who always remains emotionally neutral, who never smiles, never reacts, never engages with you, is sending a message. And that message is, I don't feel connected to you. This kind of emotional detachment can happen for different reasons. Sometimes, it's unconscious. They simply don't feel close to you, and their body language reflects that. Other times, it's intentional, a subtle but powerful way to keep you at a distance. And in some cases, it's even calculated, used by narcissists and manipulators to make you feel insignificant, to make you question your own worth. But here's what you need to remember, you are not imagining it. You are not being too sensitive. You are simply picking up on the truth. So, what should you do? First, observe their behavior with others. Are they equally detached from everyone? Or is it just with you? Second, don't chase their approval. If someone refuses to engage with you emotionally, forcing a connection will only make you feel worse. And third, redirect your energy. Real friendships, real relationships, are built on mutual warmth, respect, and engagement. If someone is emotionally shutting you out, take it as a sign, it's time to invest in connections that truly value you. Now, let me ask you, have you ever noticed someone being emotionally detached around you, but expressive with others? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments. You're not alone in this. Let's continue. Have you ever noticed how some people are always there for the good times, but nowhere to be found when things get difficult? They celebrate with you when life is exciting. They laugh with you at parties. They send you messages when they need something. But when the storm comes, when you're struggling, when you need support, when you're at your lowest, they vanish. No call. No message. No sign of their presence. At first, you make excuses for them. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they didn't know how bad things were for me. But deep down, you know the truth. People who care about you will not disappear when you need them the most. This is one of the clearest signs that someone does not truly value your relationship. Real friends, real partners, real allies, they stand beside you in difficult times, not just in moments of joy. So why do some people disappear when you need them? Some do it because they never truly cared in the first place. They enjoyed the benefits of your presence, but the moment they had to give something back, they were gone. Others do it because they fear responsibility. Helping someone in need requires effort, patience, and sometimes sacrifice. And there are those who simply don't want to be burdened. And then, there are those who do it to keep the relationship one-sided. They prefer you to be strong, independent, and available for them, but when you're vulnerable, when you need them, they suddenly become unavailable. The question is, are you going to keep investing in someone who disappears when you need them the most? Here's what you need to do. First, stop chasing people who abandon you in your struggles. If someone only values you when it's convenient for them, they do not deserve access to your energy. Second, pay attention to patterns. Everyone has busy moments, but if someone consistently disappears when you're struggling, it's not an accident, it's a choice. And third, build your circle with people who show up. The ones who call, who check in, who stand beside you when you feel alone. Those are the relationships worth keeping. Now, let me ask you, have you ever had someone vanish on you when you needed them the most? How did you deal with it? Share your experience in the comments. Because recognizing this behavior is the first step to protecting yourself. Let's continue. So, you've seen the signs. You've noticed the avoidance, the dismissive comments, the lack of effort, the silent exclusions. And now, you're left wondering, what should I do next? Should you confront them? Should you try harder to win their approval? Or should you simply walk away? Before you decide, let me tell you this, you are not here to convince anyone to like you. You are here to recognize the truth, protect your energy, and invest in the relationships that truly matter. Now, let's talk about the smartest way to handle this situation. Have you ever found yourself bending over backward to please someone, only to receive nothing in return? You try harder. You adjust your words, your actions, your energy, hoping that maybe, just maybe, they will finally see your worth. But here's the painful truth, some people will never appreciate you, no matter what you do. There are those who thrive on keeping you off balance, making you feel like you're always one step away from their approval. These are the manipulators, the narcissists, the ones who enjoy watching you work for something they will never give. And then, there are those who simply don't care. No matter how much effort you put in, they remain indifferent, because in their world, you were never a priority to begin with. So let me ask you, why waste your time? You were not born to win the approval of everyone. That is an impossible, soul-draining mission. And those who dislike you have already made their choice. The moment you stop trying to change their mind, you reclaim your power. Now, let me tell you something even more important, the more you chase after people, the less they respect you. This is a game of psychology. The more desperate you appear for their approval, the more they will distance themselves. The moment you step back, however, something shifts. They start wondering why you're no longer trying. They feel the void you left. And suddenly, the power dynamic changes. But here's the thing, you don't need them. Instead of spending your energy on people who ignore you, invest in those who genuinely see your worth. So here's what I want you to do. First, identify the people you've been trying too hard to please. Ask yourself, have they ever reciprocated my effort? Do they truly value me, or am I just an option to them? Second, stop chasing. Let go of the need to prove yourself. The right people will recognize your value without you having to convince them. And third, watch what happens. Some will start noticing your absence. Others will disappear entirely. Either way, you will have freed yourself from the burden of seeking approval from the wrong people. Now, let me ask you, have you ever wasted time trying to please someone who never valued you? How did you break free? Share your experience in the comments, because learning to stop seeking validation is one of the most powerful lessons in life. Let's move forward. Not everyone will like you. That is a fact of life. But when you notice someone's coldness, avoidance, or hostility, your mind immediately begins searching for answers. Did I do something wrong? Am I not good enough? Should I change myself to fit their expectations? Stop. Before you let self-doubt consume you, ask yourself a crucial question. Is this my problem, or is this theirs? There are two types of reasons why someone might dislike you. 1. It's something you did. Sometimes, people react negatively to us because of something we said or did. Maybe we unintentionally hurt them. Maybe we acted out of character. Maybe we made a mistake. In these cases, self-reflection is powerful. Owning your actions, apologizing if necessary, and growing from the experience are signs of emotional maturity. But here's where it gets tricky. 2. It has nothing to do with you at all. Some people dislike you not because of what you did, but because of who they are. Maybe they are envious of your confidence. Maybe they feel threatened by your success. Maybe they are carrying personal wounds that make them project negativity onto others. And here's where many people fall into a trap. They try to fix something that was never their problem to fix. You cannot change someone's jealousy. You cannot control someone's insecurities. You cannot heal wounds that you did not cause. So before you waste your energy overanalyzing someone's dislike toward you, step back and ask. Is this about me? Or is this about them? If it's about you, grow from it. But if it's about them, let it go. Because at the end of the day, the weight of their resentment is not yours to carry. Now, let me ask you, have you ever spent too much time trying to understand why someone disliked you, only to realize it had nothing to do with you? Share your story in the comments. Let's learn from each other. Let's continue. Respect is not negotiable. You don't have to be liked by everyone, but you do have the right to be treated with basic respect. So, when someone repeatedly dismisses you, disrespects you, or undermines your worth, what do? Do you tolerate it? Do you try harder to gain their approval? Do you make excuses for their behavior? No. You create distance, because allowing disrespect is the same as accepting it. The silent game of disrespect. Disrespect doesn't always come in obvious forms. Sometimes, it's subtle. The friend who constantly makes jokes at your expense. The colleague who ignores your ideas but acknowledges others. The person who never values your time, but expects you to be available for them. It doesn't start as something big. It starts small, so small that you question if you're imagining it. But then, over time, the pattern becomes clear: they do not respect you. And here's the truth: people treat you the way you allow them to. Creating distance, the smart way to protect yourself. The moment you recognize repeated disrespect, you have two choices. Confront them, if it's worth it. Some people aren't aware of their behavior. If the relationship is valuable, addressing it can sometimes lead to change. Withdraw your energy. If someone has shown you that they don't value you, stop giving them access to your time, attention, and emotions. This isn't about anger. This isn't about revenge. This is about power, your power. When you step away from those who don't respect you, you send a message. I am not available for relationships that diminish me. And here's what happens next. Some will notice and start respecting you more. Others will fade away completely. Either way, you win. What you should do now. First, observe. Who in your life consistently disregards your boundaries, belittles your achievements, or treats you as if you are disposable? Second, decide. Is this relationship worth addressing, or is it time to step back? And third, act. Whether through confrontation or silent withdrawal, take back control of your energy in space. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to be around people who do not respect you. Now, tell me, have you ever walked away from someone who didn't value you? How did it change your life? Share your experience in the comments. Because recognizing disrespect is the first step, but walking away from it is where real strength begins. Let's continue. Imagine this: you've spent months, maybe even years, trying to win the approval of someone who never truly valued you. You gave them your time, your kindness, your energy. But what did you receive in return? Silence, indifference, disrespect. And yet, right now, there are people who do appreciate you. People who see your value, who care about you, who would love to be part of your life. But you've been too busy chasing the wrong ones to notice. It's time to shift your focus. The power of investing in the right people. Every relationship either adds to your life or drains you. Some people lift you up. They challenge you to grow. They support your dreams, respect your boundaries, and celebrate your success without jealousy. Others? They pull you down. They criticize you, dismiss your achievements, and make you feel small. The truth is, you don't have infinite energy. So ask yourself, where is my energy going? Are you spending your time trying to fix relationships that were never meant to thrive? Are you pouring yourself into people who take and take, but never give back? Shift your energy to what matters. The smartest thing you can do is choose wisely where you invest your time. Seek out people who genuinely appreciate you. Not those who tolerate you, but those who truly value your presence. Prioritize quality over quantity. A few strong, meaningful relationships will always be more powerful than 100 shallow ones. Let go of guilt. Just because you've known someone for years doesn't mean they deserve unlimited access to your life. And here's the beautiful part: the moment you stop wasting energy on the wrong people, you make space for the right ones. Now, let me ask you, have you ever let go of a toxic relationship, only to realize how much lighter and freer you felt? Share your experience in the comments. Because prioritizing the right relationships isn't just about happiness, it's about survival. Let's continue. Life is too short to waste energy on those who do not see your worth. Throughout this video, we've uncovered the hidden signs that someone secretly dislikes you. They avoid eye contact. They make jokes at your expense. They exclude you from plans. They're always too busy for you. They forget important details about you. They avoid physical contact. They criticize you more than necessary. They show no emotion when they're around you. They disappear when you need them most. And now, you know the truth, not everyone will like you. And that's okay. You cannot control how others feel about you, but you can control how you respond. So, what should you do? Stop trying to please everyone. The right people will value you naturally. Determine if the problem is yours or theirs. Some people project their own insecurities onto you. Distance yourself from those who disrespect you. Your time and energy are too valuable. Focus on relationships that bring you growth and peace. Life is better when you invest in people who truly care. Here's my final message for you. You were not created to be universally liked, you were created to be authentic. Let go of the need for approval. Let go of the fear of rejection. And step fully into the life that was meant for you. Now, if this message resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear this today. And tell me in the comments, which of these signs have you experienced before? How did you handle it? Because this is not just about recognizing negativity, it's about reclaiming your power. Let's move forward.